So what's happening, everybody? It's a beautiful Sunday morning. I guess we're going to get some pretty bad thunderstorms later in the afternoon, so I'm going to have to mow the lawn and get that done out of the way. But yeah, I'm hoping that tomorrow, it's supposed to be nice, so tomorrow's Monday. I'm hoping tomorrow that I'm going to get the panels up on the shed. I've been running the system with the panels in the window, and it's working flawlessly. So everything is all ready. It's just the panels need to go on the roof, and so I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be tomorrow. It's going to take probably most of the day to get them up there. First, I got to get the rack, the actual rail, up on the shed. Then I've got to drill the holes through the roof of the shed, and then lift everything up about 4 inches away from the shed so that I can get the panels mounted on the rack, and then remove the spacers that I'm going to be using, let the whole thing fall down. It's going to be kind of interesting because when we move, which we're not planning on staying where we're at forever, but when we move, I'm going to have a hard time getting the panels off. And that's by design. I designed it that way so that somebody can't just walk up to the shed and just take everything off. The bolts that hold the panels to the rack are way underneath. There's no way to wedge a tool in there and try to get the panels off that way. You actually have to get inside the shed, then you have to unbolt everything from the inside, and then you have to take the whole thing off as one unit. So we're not talking about one person in the night just stealing all the panels off. It would take 3-4 guys to be able to take that whole thing off. And again, that's how I designed it, was to make it basically nearly impossible. Nothing's impossible with a determined team. But when you think about it, there's, let's just say, $800 worth of panels on the roof. If somebody really wants that $800 that bad, of course they're going to find a way. But I can think of much more expensive excuse me, and easier things to steal than some panels on the roof that's probably going to take them a couple hours at least just to be able to do it with 3 or 4 people. So yeah, I mean, that's how I designed it. So yeah, me, when I get out there, and I got to figure out how the hell I'm going to get it off, but that's fine, because, you know, we're going to be at our current residence for at least 2-3 years, at least, maybe even longer. So I'm real happy with the way that it's turned out. I'm going to get another set of panels on the other side of the shed, but before that, I actually want to invest in wind. We live in Michigan. Okay, Michigan isn't the windiest state, but it's definitely up there as far as wind goes. And I tell you what, it's always windy where we're at because we live right near the lake. So we get a lot of that wind, and I can't tell you, and you know, I mean, your wind varies, of course, but it seems like it's always windy. Like right now, it's quite windy out. So it's just the way that it is. You know, on a hot summer day, of course, it's not as windy, but that's the thing about wind generators, is they're variable. You could also say that solar is variable, because with solar, like when it's cloudy right now, I can see the sun, but with the haze of the clouds, I'm not going to be putting out as much as if it was clear. And of course, at night, you're putting out nothing. So you could say that solar is as variable as wind. But wind seems to be a little bit more predictable, at least in my opinion. Yes, it's true that you could go a week without a single bit of wind, but where I live, it's always windy, so I'm always expecting the turbine to be turning somewhat. And my goal is to be able to have the wind turbine replenish the batteries as they drain from overnight usage. And I'm talking about things like radios, because both my kids sleep with a radio on with static. They're 10, 12 watts an hour. And then my wife and I sleep with a radio going, static. And that's, 10 watts. So you're talking 50 watts an hour at night just for the radios. 50 watts an hour at night just for the radio. So having a wind turbine on the roof would, cut the drain on the battery and quite possibly just keep it charging or float. But again, this is we're talking all the way next year. The system that I've got put together right now is what's going to get me all the way until winter. Till then, I start putting together more. I'd like to go wind. I'd like to add more batteries, but I had mentioned in another video that my feelings have changed towards solar, renewable energy in particular. Again, I'm going to go into that more detail probably tomorrow when I'm able to sit down. Both kids are going to be gone at my parents' or my mom's, so I'll have a chance to sit down quietly and talk about the renewable energy scene and how things are changing and how our infrastructure is changing and how I'm moving in one direction now rather than just the direction of, I'm going to save some money here and this is a cool project. I'm moving more towards the direction of this is sort of turning into a necessity, and it's good to be prepared, I guess, for what is most likely going to happen that I think most people don't either realize or just don't want to realize. So anyway, yeah, the progress on the panels is coming along great. It's just waiting on the parts. The combiner box is required, and then I had to send wire back the direct burial wire that I've got is an XHHW, I think. They sent the wrong wire. Whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. So they prepaid for me to ship it back, and the custom orders, custom length. So the orders, I don't know why, but it takes longer. It takes about another week for a custom order. So at the earliest to get this system fully online, I'm looking at a week from Wednesday. But I can get everything else all set up and ready to go and just wait on the wire and then get the wire tied in and then we'll be good. So, hey, progress, right? Slowly but surely.